Hey boys, welcome to the top 8 prediction results video. So first off, I would have totally forgot about doing this video. I remember like a week ago, a few people started commenting, you know, are you gonna do like a talk about the finals, who you gonna think is gonna be in? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do like I predicted it at the start of the year. I'll go over like my predictions. I'll do like how it went and talk about all the stupid shit I talked about and all the clever shit I talked about. But I would have totally forgot about it. But I saw Mr. Luke's and Jared HD. They uploaded their result video because they made a prediction video as well. So yeah, let's go straight into it. So I did a top 8, but I pretty much went through like every team and how I thought they would go. So I will link that original video in the description so you guys know I'm not like cheating, even though I didn't do too well. I went okay. A few things went alright, but most things are pretty bad, honestly. So going through the top 8, the top 4. So the top 4 was Broncos, Cowboys, Storm, Sharks. So obviously that was pretty easy. Cowboys, Storm, Sharks were pretty easy. The Broncos obviously didn't make it. They got 5th, and the Raiders were obviously in the top 4. A bit of a roughie. But they got up there. I'll talk more about how the teams went individually after I go through like my stuff here. But the bottom 4, geez, this is where it gets a little shocking. So I went Warriors, Seagulls, Roosters, Rabbitohs. Oh, now in one defense here, the Roosters, I did make this. I'm pretty sure I made this video before the issue and the drama broke with Mitchell Pearce. I'm pretty confident that I did. And I feel like if Pearce played the whole year without that drama, I feel like the Roosters would have made the top 8. You know, they still might not have, but yeah. The rest of them, Rabbitohs, poor season, Seagulls. Okay, so the Warriors finished 10th, Roosters finished 15th, the Rabbitohs finished 12th, Seagulls finished 13th. Man, yeah, they had a bad year. Now, these next 4, now, the thing is with the bottom 4, like the top 4 I was very confident of. I was like extremely confident of these 4 making the finals, making top 4. But the bottom 4 and then the next 4, so the next 4, Raiders, Bulldogs, Panthers, Titans. So obviously all those teams actually did make the finals. All those teams, I was umming and ahhing. You can go back and watch the video. When I talk about these sides, I'm like, yeah, these teams have really good squads. Probably the only team that I probably didn't think was going to make the top 8 was the Bulldogs, even though I thought, you know, they probably will sneak in. So, I mean, I did say the Warriors, Seagulls, Roosters, Rabbitohs in the final prediction, but the Raiders, Bulldogs, Panthers, Titans, I was like, yeah, these teams could definitely slip in there somewhere. So it turned out that the Raiders, Bulldogs, Panthers, Titans, Broncos, Cowboys, Storm, Sharks, they were the top 8. They ran it out the top 8. And then the bottom 4 teams, I picked it pretty well. Not exact, but I picked the Knights, Eels, Tigers, Dragons. So I was pretty much like, these teams, they have no shot. And the Eels were a bit of a funny one because obviously I made the video before the issues with the Eels, but I didn't think the Eels side was very good. So I was correct with the Eels, probably for wrong reasons though. I thought the Eels, I thought their side was good, but I just didn't think they would gel, and I didn't think they would actually play as well as they did. Obviously they did play very well, but the issues with the salary cap, it forced them into the bottom 4, which I guess I ended up correct about. So so yeah, there's that. So I guess just quickly, I'll talk just a bit about each team. I'll try to give a bit of a rundown, my thoughts, and I guess I'll say, like, if I can remember who I thought, like, some of their better players for some teams. So the Storm, minor premiers. Surprise, surprise. The Storm, if the Storm have Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, they're going to be up there, dude. They're going to be up there. And the Storm, they have a strong side. I do find it a little annoying how everyone says, oh, the Storm, they get all these off-cuts of plays, you know, these second string type players, and they turn them into superstars. Yeah, I find it a bit bullshit because they've got two of like the best players, Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith, and then you've got like an outstanding forward pack. You know, Tohu Harris, Kevin Proctor, Jesse Bromwich. You know, those three players are three of the best forwards in the game, in my opinion. And you know, Will Chambers, international Origin, well, maybe not international, but Origin back. You know, Marika Korobetti, he's a superstar. So I sort of find it a little bullshit when people say the Storm sort of do it with these second string players. But, you know, the Storm, outstanding year. Cameron Munster obviously slotted into fullback. And it wasn't a surprise, you know, when Billy Slater was injured and people were a little skeptical, maybe thinking the Storm would struggle. Not to be toot my own horn here, but I was pretty confident Munster. He's a freak, and I knew he would stand up to it. The Raiders. So the Raiders, like I said, I was so close to putting them in the top 8. Like I looked at their side and I'm like, it's so good. Like, they have such a strong forward pack. Their back line is outstanding. And I've got to say, like, in my opinion, their best players, Jordan Rapana, Joseph Leilua, those two guys totally destroyed every game they played. I mean, Leilua should be Centre of the Year without doubt, and Rapana should probably be Winger of the Year in my opinion. Leilua is just outstanding, and yeah, he's a beast of a player. Obviously, they had heaps of other standouts though. You know, I know Josh Hodgson. He was like their Dally M leader. I think he was actually leading the whole thing at one point. I'm sort of hoping he doesn't win it, but we'll see. You know, he got a lot of the raps, but I don't know. I thought Leilua and Rapana really stood out for them. I know it's like winger center. It's a little strange to say. Obviously, Austin, Caesar controlled it well. The forward pack of Whitehead, you know, Siasoliola, all these other guys, they all played well. And then the Sharks coming in third. You know, solid all year. They had a massive win streak. They've gone on a bit of a loss streak recently. I sort of, you know, the Raiders v Sharks. I sort of feel like the Raiders are gonna beat the Sharks. I did sort of pick this. I sort of picked that the Sharks would fall away. Now they still could, you know, turn it around and make the grand final, win it all, but I sort of feel like they sort of peaked a little too early, and they're sort of just down on the decline. We'll see how they go, but a good year for the Sharks. I thought they'd make the top 4. They had a very strong side on paper. Then the Cowboys, once again, you know, they only just snuck into the top 4 by a points differential over the Broncos. The Cowboys, you know, they had a few patches there where they looked pretty amazing, and then other patches where they were pretty average, I guess. But overall, I mean, their squad has stayed pretty much the same throughout. One guy that has just come along here is young Cohen Hess. Now, that guy, he is a superstar in the making now. Apparently, he is getting on the bench. He's getting a bench spot for the finals. Over a couple other guys in Asiata and who was the other guy? Someone else, but yeah, Cohen Hess. He was you know, he only had a couple of games, but man, he looked pretty awesome, I've got to say. But yeah, the Cowboys, you know, the big names stood up. Thurston, Tamalolo. I thought Tamalolo, he's had his best season to date easily. His most consistent season. I mean, he's played a fair few seasons now. He's only like 22 still, 23. But he's been, you know, all these brilliance. He has had the odd game in the past, where he's been a bit below average. But this year, throughout the whole year, I thought he's been probably their best player. Just constantly threatening. His defense has been a hell of a lot better. That was like the one area, where pretty much everyone said he needed to work on, and his defense this year has been outstanding. Honestly, he's been very strong. Then the Broncos, my team finishing in the 5th position. I did pick them to finish in the top 4, but they just missed out. You know, they got on a bit of a losing streak after the Origin period. They struggled a bit there for confidence, but I guess you'd say they're hitting their straps at the right time. I know a fair few people are saying that their last round win wasn't too pretty, wasn't too flash, but, they won. They still won, and they're going into the finals with confidence. I thought, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously most of the team started out great guns. Milford, Hunt at the start of the year, they were unstoppable. Corey Oates unstoppable, but when they hit that form slump, Ben Hunt in particular, Corey Oates in particular, they struggled a bit, but since turning it around, Corey Oates in particular, I don't know, his confidence has just gone back up. I don't know, he had a few weeks where he just couldn't catch and he was having a bit of trouble, but he seems to be back on the ball. Ben Hunt is playing a lot better, taking the line on more, and just better overall. I thought James Roberts, probably the big signing for them. He's been solid all year. I think he's been pretty good all year, and the main thing is his defense. I think his defense has really been a big part. Obviously, Roberts is known for his attack, but yeah, his defense has been pretty darn good. The one thing to say is the Broncos, in that little form slump, they've had a fair few injuries. A fair few times, games where Corey Oates get injured, and they have to I remember that fucking Melbourne Storm game. Corey Oates getting injured, putting poor old Cody Karima out on the wing against the big Fijian. A fair few injuries during games, having to reshuffle. Obviously, Jordan Kahu missing. Jordan Kahu's an absolute superstar. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the comp. He is, he's a Kiwi international. He's a great player, Jordan Kahu. Missing him has been a big loss, and since Kahu's been back, Broncos look so much better. Obviously, Jack Reed has been out injured, obviously announced his retirement, which is, honestly, it's really sad. Honestly, it's sad news hearing a player like Jack Reed, not very old, having to retire from the game from injury, which is, and the thing about that is, it's a bit of a shock because Jack Reed, I do remember him, going down a lot with, a shoulder injury, but, you don't look at that and be like, damn, it's a serious injury. I mean, it's not like a tore ACL or something like that, but obviously it's just saying that just can't fix, which is a huge bummer for him. But young Tom Obichich coming into the team later in the season has been outstanding. I knew he would be. Once again, seen him in Queensland Cup a lot, and one of the best players in there. He's just a good, solid player. He reminds me a lot of Ewan Atkin, honestly. Those two players actually are very similar, in my opinion. Apparently, though, he's out injured for the first game, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know what they're going to do. Probably put Alex Glenda to the centre. I haven't looked at the teams, but moving on to the Panthers, finishing in 6th. The Panthers, hot and cold year, in my opinion. At times, they looked unbeatable. I think they have been the top teams. I think they've been all the top teams, so I mean, they can do it on their day. Obviously, the most outstanding player, Nathan Cleary. My God, dude, Nathan Cleary. For a 20-year-old, his first, actually not even, he's 18, isn't he? 18, 19? For his first year in first grade, he's just controlled the Panthers. I thought the Panthers would struggle this year, honestly, with the injuries. Peter Hiku, Dean Fare, and a couple other guys getting injured, but they have good depth, and Nathan Cleary has just been a revelation. Honestly, his kicking game, his defense, for a young guy, he's built. His defense is really good. Takes the line on. Yeah, he's an outstanding player. Probably, without doubt, I think he's Rookie of the Year. I think Nathan Cleary has to be Rookie of the Year. Probably Ash Taylor is up there as well, but Nathan Cleary has to be Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. Then we got the Bulldogs in 7th. I didn't think the Bulldogs would make the top 8 either, but they did. I guess they didn't sneak in. It was a pretty big gap, 32 points to 26 to the Tigers, but the Bulldogs. I mean, I can't believe a few weeks ago the Bulldogs were they were in the top 4. I couldn't believe, I could not wrap my head around the Bulldogs finishing top 4 after the year they had. I mean, they've just been so inconsistent. And, I think it just shows how big Cassiano is to the Bulldogs. Without Cassiano, I feel like the Bulldogs forward pack is pretty average. Pretty average at best. Yeah, I think it's pretty average. Put Cassiano in there, and it shoots their pack up so much. So Cassiano, he's gonna be back for the first game, so it's gonna be a big game. The Panthers Bulldogs. I know Panthers are gonna go in probably red hot favorites, but I can see an upset. I can definitely see an upset. In all honesty, I know I'm talking a bit of shit about the Bulldogs, saying that I don't think they've been that good, but I'm tipping the Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs will beat the Panthers in their game. In all honesty, I think the Bulldogs will win. Then we move on to the Titans. So the Titans, I mean, this rounds out the 8 actually. The Titans just snuck home because the Tigers got flogged by the who did they get flogged by? Panthers, was it? I can't even remember. No, it was Raiders. Raiders flogged them. But yeah, the Titans. What can you say? I looked at the Titans. I know a lot of people were saying Titans wooden spoon favourites. If you go back and watch my video when I talk about the Titans, I actually thought their team was pretty good. And I thought their forward pack was solid. I thought their back line was solid. But I thought the loss of Caesar and not signing Cherry Evans, obviously, I thought they would miss out on the 8, but that was obviously before, Conrad Hurrell, Nathan Peets, Ashley Taylor being potential Rookie of the Year, and now Jared Hayne. Now, I don't think, honestly, Jared Hayne hasn't done anything for them as of yet, but he could be a big X factor in the finals. So, in my opinion, I think the Broncos will beat the Titans, but it should be a good game. The Titans, though, that you look at their side now compared to the start of the year, it's a very, very, very strong side. I think David Mead is back on the wing instead of Anthony Don, which I fucking hope so. I have no idea why they dropped David Mead. In my opinion, he's probably one of the best wingers in the game. I don't think Anthony Don is that bad or anything, but David Mead has to be there. He's such a good player. I read actually that the Broncos are looking to sign Mead, which I welcome with open arms. If the Titans don't want to play Mead, yeah, Broncos, sign David Mead. He's one of my favorite players. He's outstanding. He's completely underrated. But yeah, the Titans, very good year. Ash Taylor had a great year. Nene McDonald, I think, really leapt on this year. I thought he was pretty average last couple of years, but this year Nene McDonald I thought was pretty awesome. David Mead I thought very good. Josh Hoffman, their forward pack. Parsi dropped away a little bit, but Ryan James obviously it's outstanding. And then the rest of the teams, whatever, they didn't make the 8. Nah, we're not going to talk about them too much. Rest of the sides, Tigers had a shot there, didn't quite get there. Warriors. Fuck, man. What do you even say? They had a few off-field distractions earlier. Players leaving, players getting injured. I think two of us, Check, Isaac, Luke getting injured. It's poor old Warriors, dude. Next year, the Warriors, for sure. I don't know, dude. Dragons. Pretty poor all year, honestly. Rabbitohs, poor all year. They turned it around the last couple of weeks when there was no pressure on them. The Seagulls, a lot of injuries, honestly. Yeah, the Seagulls, I thought, I did pick the Seagulls for the top 8, and I think if they had a full strength team, I think they might have snuck into the 8. But yeah, they were crippled by injuries. The Eels, we all know what happened to the Eels. The Roosters, having Pierce, Hargraves, and Cordner out for the first length of time really hurt them. And then they lost a lot of games by a few points. The Roosters could have had a different season, and I still think they're a top 8 team. And then the Knights, dude, whew, rough year. But yeah, so. I'll quickly go over who I think is going to win the first in the first round of the finals. So, Storm v Cowboys. I'm actually going to tip. It's tough, dude, but I'm going to tip the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to bring it. I think the Cowboys are going to fire up. Raiders Sharks. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think the Sharks are on a bit of a drop. I think the Raiders are looking pretty good. Obviously. Then we've got Broncos, Titans. I'm gonna go Broncos. I just think they're a little too strong. I think the Titans have done well, but they're gonna need to do something special, I think, to beat the Broncos. And then Bulldogs, Panthers. Like I said, I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs. I think you know, the one thing that could hurt the Panthers is everybody's saying that the Panthers are favorites, and if the Panthers believe that, then Bulldogs, you know, everyone says it. They're a finals team, and they can bring it. They can beat the best side. So I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs. So yeah, this is my little finals prediction. It's going over the start of the year, all that sort of stuff. You know, if you want to comment how many, you know, I know a lot of you guys put in your top 8 predictions, so if you got them all correct or you got pretty close, and comment that bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this bit of a different look. I might do this throughout the final series, go over my predictions and stuff like that if you guys want to see it. But yeah, other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.